You know, before I get into the meat of this video, there's a few things that I need to say up front that will, of course, serve as the intro to this masterpiece. And of course, you have seen the title. Now, this week, I believe it was Monday, I received notification from a news story that I find to be kind of interesting, that it's been swept under the rug. And this news story centered around this Afro-American colored female who was arrested on Sunday for beating, choking, throwing her 5-month-old child off the bed, amongst other things. She filmed all of this and sent the video to the baby's father. You know, I mean, here you have a black female, the backbone of the black community, a member of the most educated group in America, abusing her 5-month-old child. And some of the texts read that she's threatening to kill the baby, fuck this baby, what she sent the father. And she sent all these texts, and she recorded her abusing this baby and sent that to the father because she had an argument with the baby's father. I'm going to reserve my harsh critique of this story for the whole. I'm going to show you the article, and then I got a few things to say, as I'm sure y'all probably already know. You know what it is, second nature like breathing. If you want to read this article, you want to see this article, and you want to hear my commentary about it, you know what it is. Send me email. I most certainly will get you the link. I've been tied up this week listening to all of the commentary surrounding this comedian, this Negro, this Godfrey Negro. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all done heard it. Y'all heard what he had to say. And when I first heard his rant, I was dumbfounded. I mean, this is the politically correct rant. So let me be nice. I keep telling y'all, black men are just dumb. They're just dumb. I mean, y'all know they're not the sharpest knives in the drawer. They're not the brightest bulbs on the tree. We already know they cannot think critically. They don't have critical thinking skills. They can't connect dots. They can't color within the line. We got all of that. And when I heard this Negro's rant, I sat and I thought, and this was before I seen any of the videos that I knew was coming. I knew those sisters were going to pounce all over that Negro, which they did. And when I first heard the rant, I'm thinking to myself, now wait a minute, this nigga actually is enraged because he's seen an ad that depicted a white man with a black woman. And his argument was that the ad should have also included a black man with a white woman, since we are talking about black men started this. And I'm sitting there, I'm listening to this nigga, I'm like, man, dude, I mean, Godfrey, do you realize that you just regurgitated their talking points? I mean, do you realize, Negro, that you just sat there in a video and threw them an alley-oop, threw them a softball right down the center of the plate? I mean, do you realize that what you said is what these black women continuously say about how black men are not race loyal, they leave, they've been doing it for years, blah, 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 blah. And you sit there in a post and you're so dumb. I mean, it didn't dawn on you that you actually supported their premise. I mean, I'm sitting there listening to this Negro, and in 2021, you got Negroes. You got black folks. You got black people, man. In 2021, you have Negroes, black men and black women arguing who love Whitey more. You got to be kidding me, man. You have got to be kidding me. And then y'all wonder why I say it's over for this race. It's over. It's over, man. I mean, you have black men getting upset that an ad did not include a black male because, after all, we started this swirling thing. This was logic. And the black women come along and say, see, we told you that's what they did. And they're sitting there and they're making videos about this minstrel. And they're laughing at this minstrel because this minstrel don't even understand. Dude, you are regurgitating their talking points, you idiot. And then what you allow them to do, and this is what pisses me off, but I'm going to be careful. Matter of fact, let me take a sip of this, because this is what gets my blood boiling. I'm going to take a cup of that, because I got to calm down. The Negro regurgitates their talking points. And they're laughing at him. Now, you go back and look at some of the videos that some of these sisters put up, and you read the comments. Them sisters are laughing at this Negro. Yuck, 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 yuck. Don't that nigga realize that he's saying the same thing we saying? I'm like, man, black men are dumb. They're just dumb. See, this is what happens. If you allow me to digress for just a minute, this is what happens when you have a community that is anti-intellectual, as the black community is. And I know y'all don't like this, but it's tough. The black community is anti-intellectual for the most part. And when you have a community that does not put any kind of weight on intellectual pursuits, and I'm not saying all, but it's a large majority of them who don't, then you can have a comedian. As Malcolm said, the black race is the only race that has ex-comedians and athletes as their political leaders. And we're not saying that you can't have an opinion. Of most certainly you can have an opinion, guy. But if you're not going to spend your time to familiarize yourself with the argument, then keep your mouth shut, or surfacing the fact that this is my opinion, I could be right or wrong, okay, then fine. But don't say that stuff emphatically as he did in that video post, saying stupid stuff. You need to stay in your lane, Negro. You are a comedian. Crack jokes. That's what you do. You have scholars and intellectuals who can deal with that subject matter. I don't agree with Cornel West, but God damn it, you can't take from that dude that he's not an intellectual. That dude is an intellectual. Same with Eric Michael Dyson. Don't agree with everything that brother say, but he's an intellectual. You know damn well I most certainly don't agree with everything that Bell Hooks says, but she's an intellectual. So if you're going to have, you stay in your lane, dude. Crack your jokes. But yet and still, when these Negroes make these types of videos, regurgitating the talking points of these quote-unquote swirlers, which, again, as y'all know, and I've been saying it for the longest, if you've been down the hole, that is an oxymoron. Because in order for you to swirl, you need a white man, and many of these sisters just don't have them. But, we've gotten that. That's the reason why 70% is still high. We've covered that. I keep hammering them on that. They can't address that, and we know why. So we got that. But now, when you get these ignorant Negroes who refuse to do research, bumping their gums, what they in fact do is they embolden black women with these ignorant talking points. What am I saying? The most popular is black men are using black women as mules. Black men are hiding behind black women in these protests, and they're putting black women out there in front, and they're hiding behind black women and black when we tired of it. That's the reason why you have the hashtag Black Woman Stay Home. I'm not going to protest and all this other crap that you hear from these sisters. And the reason why they become emboldened with that foolishness is because you got ignorant Negroes like this making video posts regurgitating their talking points. So now not only do I have to go up against them, I got to go up against y'all because y'all sitting here regurgitating their talking points. And y'all so dumb, y'all don't even realize it. I mean, it is absolutely insane, man, when you hear these black women talk that black men are using black women and putting them at the front of movements and hiding behind them. That is absolutely insane. And I'm wondering, and actually it's rhetorical, but, for the sake of making the video, I'm actually wondering why the online intellectuals, again, Boyce Watkins, Umar Johnson, don't agree with everything they say, but I can't take away from them that they're intellectuals. And you don't have neither one of them, and there's others who won't even come against this goofy narrative that these black women are trying to push that is not founded by historical fact, that black men have placed black women at the forefront of movements and are hiding behind them, cowering behind them. And black women, we tired of being the face of movements and marching, so we hashtag Black Woman Stay Home. That's not supported by historical fact. But yet and still, when you have these ignorant Negroes who refuse to do their research, who refuse to study, and make videos sounding stupid, Godfrey, then this embolden these black women with these ignorant talking points. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, because I know y'all, a lot of y'all on that short bus. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. And we can go back to, it wasn't the first, but one of the most popular would be what? Rosa Parks. And we know the whole storyline behind the situation with Rosa Parks. But now we also know that if you studied and did your research, you know that Rosa Parks wasn't the first one. First female that didn't want to give up her seat was a pregnant 15-year-old child, but they couldn't use her because obviously she's pregnant out of wedlock. wedlock. So they didn't want to use her. So when Rosa decided she wasn't going to give up her seat, the public transportation was broken down into three parts. You had the white-only section. You had a middle section that was a gray area where whites and black could actually sit. But if there was no seats in the all-white section and a white person got on the bus and a black person was sitting there, they still had to get up their seat. And then, of course, in the back, you had the black section. Rosa Parks was in that gray area. And we know the whole storyline. She didn't give up her seat. She gets arrested. So they boycott the bus line. You would not have had a Montgomery bus boycott if it were not for black women. Why? Because it was black women, for the most part, who were riding public transportation to the suburbs to clean white people's houses. And this is the reason why when the bus boycott took place, those white women would come and pick up their domestic workers. Why? Because they still needed their houses clean. You would not have had a Montgomery bus boycott if it hadn't been for your mother. The two components, you wouldn't have had a civil rights movement if you didn't have two key components, black women and that black church. Yeah, well, Jewish financing, but I definitely can't cover that here. That definitely is something we have to deal with in the whole. So you can just scratch that from the record. But you wouldn't have had a civil rights movement if it weren't for black women in that black church. And if you study your history, when they went to Martin Luther King and asked him to be the face of the movement, initially he said no. He didn't want to do it. Then, of course, we know that them Jews got in his ear. Well, let me stop. Let me let me leave that alone, man. Y'all got me think I'm down the hole, man. Let me take a sip of this. Leave that alone. They went to Martin Luther King initially because he was young, fresh out of college. He was educated. He was a handsome guy. He was newly taking over the pastoralship of his father's church. This was a young guy in the area. So they went to Martin Luther King and asked him to be the one that would speak to the media, be the face of the movement. Martin Luther King said, no, I won't do that. And as we know, eventually he said yes, and the rest is history. But you would not have had a civil rights movement if it had not been for your mother. Your mothers were the one who said they wanted to protest. Your mothers were the one who said they wanted to be at the forefront of that movement. That was your mother that did that. That wasn't black men. Y'all need to study y'all's history. Because even when the movement shifted, and there was a shift in the civil rights movement. Again, if you studied your history, you would know this. When those student organizations, CORE, SNCC, I would even include student chapters of the FCLC. When those student organizations became more radical, and they became tired of that nonviolence, they got sick and tired of sitting at lunch counters and having salt and sugar and ketchup poured on them, and they can't respond. They got tired of that shit. So those student organizations became more radical. At that point, they started protesting the Vietnam War. That's where the movement had shifted. Martin Luther King had actually lost control of the movement at that point. And those student organizations said, listen, forget this nonviolent integration talk. And what did they start calling for? They started calling for black power. That's what we need. We need black power. And even within the black power movement, your mother was the one who demanded, listen, I want to be at the forefront of this movement. I want to have a voice in this movement. Have y'all not read the writings of Angela Davis? Rhetorical question, because I know y'all have it. It takes an Angela Davis, even though I don't agree with everything she says, but it takes an Angela Davis to explain that whole dichotomy that black women were dealing with in that movement, fighting racism and sexism at the same time. But this was your mother who did this, not black men. But because y'all don't study, y'all don't know y'all's history. Every black woman that I see on YouTube making a video talking about black men is using black women and putting black women in the face of these movements. You don't know your history, sister. You historically ignorant. You are historically ignorant if you don't understand that that was your mother and her generation. Those are decisions that she made, they made. And y'all are suffering the residual effects from those decisions, but y'all don't want to have that conversation with mama. Y'all would rather blame black men for this shit. Black men ain't got nothing to do with it. No, black men didn't take y'all and put y'all at the forefront of movements and hide behind y'all. That was your mothers, your grandmothers, your aunts. That was their generation that said, God damn it, we have a voice and we want to be heard and we want to be right at the forefront of these movements. That was your mother that did that. But see, when you got niggas who don't know their history, who refuse to study, who refuse to do research, I ain't talking about Googling nothing. I'm talking about burning the midnight oil, doing your research, so that if you're going to put up a video, you can at least have some kind of understanding of what you're talking about. That ain't asking for much. It's not. It's really not asking for much. That if you're going to do a video dealing with these historical concepts, that it ain't asking for much for you to understand at least what took place. I think that's the low bar that needs to be crossed. And all of these women who talk that black men is using us as mules, no. That sounds good, but that's a statement that's not supported by historical fact. It's just not. I mean, once you do your research, you will come to find out in that civil rights movement, in the Black Power movement, black women were not placed there. Black women demanded, we want a voice, we want to be heard. And they placed themselves right out there on the front lines with those brothers, refusing to take a back seat. That was your mama that did that. And now today, this tough persona that your mama created for y'all think is stopping you from getting a husband. See, that's what y'all think. And that's the reason why y'all rebelling against that. And instead of having that conversation with mama, you want to say it's black men. Black men doing this to us. No, baby, you got to go talk to your mother. Up that. I ain't got nothing to do with that conversation. You need to go talk to your mama and have that conversation. And see, it's apparent that y'all haven't been talking to mama. Because if you were talking to your mother, then you mama, when you was live during this era, what was you doing? Well, I was out there protesting. And then you can have that conversation with her. Because that's what they did. Mama said, I don't want to stay in the kitchen. I want to be out there protesting. You want to go back to the kitchen because you think that's going to get you a husband. And because you don't have a husband, you're going to blame us for it. Like it's our fault. We ain't got nothing to do with that. Hell, I don't want you in the kitchen either because 9 times out of 10, you can't cook. So whatever you produce in that kitchen, I'm not eating it anyway. I listened to my father when he told me and my brother, listen, don't you eat no food from no female that you were not present to watch her cook. If you weren't present to watch her cook that food, don't you eat that? So I don't want nothing you cook anyway, unless I'm sitting right there watching you. But this is the hypocrisy. This is the hypocrisy that comes along with these heifers and how they become emboldened. When you got ignorant Negroes producing ignorant videos like that Godfrey coon. And he's so dumb. I mean, I'm sitting there listening to nigga. See, this is what I mean, man. They want us to be pressed. They want us to be pressed, man. Listen, when I'm out with Brad, black men just stare. No, not me. Not me. Because I know you, sister. Listen, you can't fool me. I know you. You know, just like I told y'all in videos, when them sisters get their attitude, get them start crossing their, hands on their chest and get that little head bobbing and finger snapping. Now, Brad may get intimidated by that. That may make Brad, kowtow and buck dance and tuck his tail. Brad may do that because Brad ain't used to seeing that. Hey, you can't. That don't impress me. I got that from my mama, got that from her aunts, got that from my sisters. That don't even impress me. You got to come again. I ain't intimidated by that. Shut up. Bend over. I mean, wait. Let me take a sip of this, man. Yeah, that may impress Brad. That don't impress us. That don't scare us. We've seen that. We're used to that. It's nothing new for us. So, no, we're not staring. And that's what his post that he put out made it seem like black men are impressed or black men are pressed. No, I don't care. I told you if you want to leave, I'll help you pack. If you want to go. I don't care. I'm serious. I just don't care anymore. That horse has left the gate. I don't care anymore. I'm done. I don't care what you do. I don't care how much weight you lose. I don't care what kind of lift you get on your breasts. I don't care what kind of tummy tuck you get. I don't care how many faith. I don't care nothing about none of that crap. Yes, I'm going to look. Yes. Yep, I sure am. If it looks right in a skirt and heels, hips, nice butt, nice leg, yeah, I'm going to look. But that's as far as it's going to go. And the reason why it's going to go no further than that, I know you. And I know what this white man don't know. And that's one day he's going to be laying awake at night and he's going to see you for who and what you really are. But you know what? It's going to be too late then. It's going to be too late. And my argument has been and will always be better him than me. So no, I'm not looking pressed and sad and mad because you with Brad. I don't care, man. Hell, my thinking is, look, go on and be with him. Hell, better him than me, man. Shit, I don't want to deal with that crap. But when you got ignorant Negroes who refuse to read, who refuse to study, who don't know their history, and just bump their gums, and they don't even realize that they are using these women's talking points. You're literally saying what she says. You're literally saying what she says, and that's what they sat back and they're laughing at this dude. And you literally are regurgitating our talking points. You saying the same thing that we've been saying. And they sitting back just laughing at this Negro because he's so dumb. He's so dumb. He don't even understand. He's such a fool. This is what emboldens them when they go out and recite these unfounded claims that black men are using them as mules in these struggles and in these movements. I tell y'all what I want y'all to do. After watching this video, go look up the founder of SNCC, one of the leading student organizations of the civil rights era. SNCC. Go look up the founder. Who founded it? That's your homework assignment. Tell me who the founder was. No, this wasn't black men who did this to y'all. Y'all gonna have to have conversations with y'all's mothers, because it was your mother who created that tough, hard persona, not black men. Well, you know what? Let me write this video. If you want that video with that female abusing her child, filming it and sending it to the child's father, you know what it is, second nature like breathing, send me an email, I'll get you the link. Because at the end of the day,